cake. Like, I was satisfied that morning. I would have been satisfied with just that. But everything else that's come afterwards has been unbelievable. Impossible, as you said earlier on, impossible to believe. Like, I still, and again, we're not sick of it all. We're not terror. We're not any such thing. But, you know, as I worded it to Tim recently, I will always regret that trial didn't do more. And I will simultaneously always be deeply, deeply, deeply satisfied with what we did. So it's a pretty fun feeling. So, but all completely mind-boggling that it happened.
Okay, now I have a few more questions, but I have to ask a question I've never asked in an interview.
Okay.
My Zoom is about to crap out in 2 minutes. Can I send you another link? Stay where you are. I'm going to send you another link. And don't go anywhere. And
I'm not going to move.
Just come right back in. Perfect. I'm sending you. Oh, man, anyway, you're still there. Yeah. Anyways, Derek Horn. Okay. Here's the thing. You know my nickname? I between us, I call you Bench. The thing is, I don't know if you're aware. You probably are. Maybe not. But in Orthodox Jews, when many of them, and maybe non-Orthodox Jews, when they eat, after they eat, they say prayers, and those prayers are called benching. And that was part of the reason why I called you Bench, never knowing that you were Jewish. So a little synergy going on.
I had no idea. I have never once questioned why you call me Bench. I've mentioned it to mutual friends. And when just singing your praises or describing you as my favorite crazy person, I've said, yeah, and he calls me Bench. Like, I'll comment on it. I've never known why. I've never questioned it. I'm just like, it means something to Evan. He's happy. That's all that matters to me. We're good.
It's gaining traction because the other day Hartsfield randomly pulled out a bench. Like, literally. I'm like, okay. Like, it's getting, you know.
It's in fact, it has grown by 100%. Because now Mike Hartsfield said it.
Okay.
It's grown by 100% per week. The biggest gain or rise in anything in history. Amazing.
So, going back to everything it took to get that trial record that you guys are driving home listening to and you guys are satisfied. There's a saying in boxing, it's called going to the well. You know, you have tough fight after tough fight after tough fight. Eventually the well gets dry. And I never had experienced that until I wrote this one script, and I did rewrite after rewrite after rewrite, to the point of when I was done with it, I was like, I don't know that I want to write scripts anymore. I changed my mind ultimately, but I was like, I don't know that I want to write scripts anymore. I cannot do that every single time to create a script. And did you feel any of that after getting to that satisfaction? Did you feel any of the, I couldn't imagine recording another record? Like, did you have any of that letdown or no?
Okay, so it wasn't letdown. But I remember when after the record came out, when we were having more arguments and whatnot, ended up breaking up. One of the things that I remember thinking at the time was there won't be another Are These Our Lives, right? I'm never going to be able to match that again. So if the band breaks up, all right, the band breaks up. In retrospect, I think it's possible to hit those same marks. Now, what I mean by that is not that I'm so capable. What I mean by that is an artist or a writer can continually hit marks that are.
Well, hold on.
Wait, hold on.
Let's go to this, and we'll. Okay. Perfect.
Yeah. So what I mean by that isn't that I'm talented, but rather any writer, creator can try to hit marks.
Okay. Wait, hold on. I'm gonna kibosh this. Wait, hold on. All right, perfect. All right, and done. And this person, they're not. They just didn't get it. They are not purposely sabotaging this. Go now. Start.
Okay, so what I mean is that not necessarily that I'm talented, but rather that any writer, creator, musician, artist can continually attempt or try to hit marks of previously achieved heights, let's just say. Whether or not they hit the exact same mark is irrelevant because it's not going to be the same. It's going to be something different. But I think in retrospect, I should have, could have, might have given it another shot, but it's okay that I didn't, right? that's the comment to Tim about always regret, but always be deeply satisfied by what we did. So I think it is possible, for example, for you to go through that process and write another script. The question is whether or not you've got it in you and you even want to. I mean, if you and I go out tomorrow and run a marathon, could we run another marathon the next day? It's like, physically, I guess. I mean, I couldn't currently, but I mean, do you want to? Maybe not. Maybe you don't just want to. It would have been really hard right after These Are Lives to write another record, because then there's pressure, right? Like, let's say you write this script and you're really happy with it, and everyone's like, oh man, I can't wait to see what Evan does next. Then you feel this extra burden that I certainly didn't feel when writing These Are Lives.
Right.
We put out Through the Darkest Days, which was essentially a straight edge record with emotional feel, and then Foundation, which was emotional feel and some straight edge to it. And maybe I'm belittling them. They weren't really. We were straight edge, but they weren't traditional straight edge records. The point is that I didn't have everyone breathing down my shoulder, breathing over on my neck, whatever that saying is, to write These Are Lives. I just wrote the lyrics over a couple of years, whatever it was, and just did that on my own. Did that on left to my own devices. Like, to the point, realistically, no one in the band saw the lyrics until we were in the studio. I didn't even share them. I didn't want to like jinx it. I didn't want to like disrupt the process. It was so solitary that I remember I walked into the studio, handed the pile of lyrics to Tim, and he sat down and he read them page by page, and he handed them back to me. He's like, yeah, it's pretty good. And that was it. That was the only feedback I got. And then I went in and recorded it. That was it. So that created the opportunity for a process that's pretty unique, and you don't get that after you create that thing, whatever it might be, the record, the painting, the book, the movie, because there's always going to be something expecting something of you, and that creates some undue pressure. So while it's possible to hit those marks again, there's different circumstances that might influence your decision to try.
I wanted to know if also, like, I think there's a lot of time, the idea that there needs to be a ton of time put into something creative, and if you don't do that each and every time out, well, then it's just not, then what you've done just isn't as good. It doesn't have the same merit. And the thing is, like, I have been totally disabused of that my entire life, because there are things I spent a ton of time on that nothing's happened with them, and then there's things I spent almost no time on, and those are the things that people respond to. I wanted to know, have you found kind of the same thing,
yeah,
what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, perfect example is learning to play chess when I was a kid. Like, I learned to play chess, and I was all about chess. And in fact, when Trial first formed, I was so into chess that I remember thinking, I have a choice to make. I can either play chess and pursue chess, or I could be in this hardcore band. There's no way I can do both, right? And I wasn't even that great at chess.
When you say pursue chess, do you mean as an adjunct to juggling, like you were going to do it competitively?
No, as like a real, like, as a hobby plus, meaning like really dive in, not like at the level of like Vadim, right? Who like, he just like, he wakes up in the morning and goes, yes, and that's how he breathes, right? It's not like that, but I mean like really study, really know the game, really get into it, and maybe enter competitions and things like that. But when I was a kid, I learned chess and I was really into it. And I remember playing my brother one day, and my brother Daryl sits down at the board, didn't know a damn thing about the game, starts moving. He knew how to move the pieces, moves the pieces, and beat me, right? Why did he beat me? He beat me because he was just gut feeling his way through it. And I'm overanalyzing, thinking about every single move and blah, blah, blah. And his gut feel was more powerful and more effective. The same thing is true in art. Anybody could create. It's just a function of, how focused are they? How clear is the vision? What's the medium they're working in? I don't think it takes a genius to write a record. I don't think it takes a genius to create a movie. I think anybody with a gut feel and some equipment, or a gut feel and a pen and a piece of paper, can do the same thing.
I am living proof it doesn't take a genius to make a movie.